Hello to anybody out there who watches this. Just to give you a bit of a background, my name is Adam. I'm 21 years old. I currently go to the University of Bath and I study maths and physics. And this is mainly just for my own personal sort of brain dump, or just to let myself sort of not have to deal with things just completely internally, to like express them out. But I'm just getting to, you get to that stage, I'm getting to that stage in life where I've spent the last 10 years of my life going through the whole process of growing up, and it's quite difficult, and I don't think anyone really talks about this because maybe some people don't really struggle with it, but that transition between being a kid to growing up and being an adult seems to be really difficult for me. And so as much as I have always strived, and I've been someone who's worked really hard to try and get to where I am right now, I've really struggled to remove myself from a very lucky childhood, which was quite happy, and I got to do a lot of things that most people probably weren't privileged, not privileged, but weren't as fortunate enough to experience and be able to go and do. And I'm at the end, I'm reaching the end of that journey. That's becoming quite difficult for me to transition into someone who's in their own little bubble for such a long time. And now suddenly the real world is starting to really matter. Today marks sort of a day where my relationship of about a year and a half is really wearing quite thin, because I seem to struggle to communicate with people, and I feel uncomfortable with the fact that the impact that she is trying to have on me is what I have always wanted to have, but because I'm stuck in this body of not wanting to be, I don't know, uncomfortable. I feel quite comfortable sat, you know, I feel quite comfortable in my own space and doing everything that I've done. I'm just quite confused. Like my head just isn't it feels like I have so many different thoughts going on at the same time, and it struggles to unravel itself. And personally, I can never quite communicate that to anyone, because if anything, I'm so stuck in my own ways and my own habits that all I have to worry about is processing it up here in my own language. But when I try to change that into actual speech and to tell people, or to speak like I am speaking right now, I get into some massive kerfuffle and big confusion, and I think that's something that I've struggled a lot with in lots of aspects. And I'm hoping that, despite it's probably not gonna get many people randomly coming across this sort of video, I'm hoping that what I can do in the next, I don't know, quarantine and COVID-19's happened now, so when I'm filming this video, so it could be that this goes on for a few weeks and then lockdown happens and then I just don't continue with this. But if anything, I'm doing this sort of thing, hopefully going to try and do it daily for myself and set myself that challenge so that I can just have that one day of brain dump about whatever's sort of concerning me in my life and just ramble on. Just work out what on earth is actually happening in my head. And hopefully with putting myself in this position where I'm just completely exposed to my own thoughts and my own and the fact that I'm having no response back in this sort of environment, I'm hoping that I will be able to develop a better way of being able to communicate certain things that are happening in my head and how I feel about things and what my thoughts are. And I spent a lot of time on this platform watching all sorts of videos, and see that's the thing, like there it goes again, like my brain, I don't know if other people have this, but my brain like just goes off on so many different tangents. I notice it when I'm at work interviews. Recently I've been trying to get a placement for my third year of university, so that basically means that I go off for a year from my studies to go to a proper firm or business to work for a whole year and get full-time experience in the industry that I want to potentially go into. And so when I was interviewing for them, I noticed one major thing from me was the fact that sat in an interview situation where I've got somebody in front of me asking me questions and they ask me a question I get stuck on. When I think of my answers initially, they sort of go in opposite directions and they just all get wound up and tangled. It's like I get two pieces of string, two ideas that try to link, intertwine, and then I end up getting them all mixed up, and I struggle to avoid going off on tangents at that point like I did just then. And if anything, I'm probably doing it right now. So I'm hoping that through this, through what I'm doing right now and speaking to the camera, but maybe it's almost like keeping a diary for myself on how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking and what sort of progress I'm going to start making, because at the start of this video I mentioned that I still feel like I'm struggling to make, even though I'm 21 now, I'm struggling to make that transition from being someone who could avoid all sorts of responsibilities and sort of zone in and out of things to someone who really needs to be on it and needs to reach that stage of becoming an adult. Because I'm at that stage and I need to smell the coffee, if anything, you know. So to sum that all up, really, that's what I'm going to be doing on here. If you keep tuned, or if you stumble across this whenever, in whatever age it is, but I'm hoping that maybe for myself mostly, sounding out what's going on in my head each day and the different things that I'm thinking about might help bring more clarity to myself, to other people in the wider scheme of things. So being able to sound out my ideas and become more confident with actually becoming more concise and actually accurately executing what it is that I'm feeling and thinking. and I just want to keep a record of that, really. And I don't know, someone might come across this and feel like they're at the same stage as me in life, and I don't feel like there's a lot of, as far as I'm concerned, there's not a lot of other students probably out there who might feel the same way, or not students and feel the same way. So it might help someone about it, because I seem to be in a very, what feels like a very isolated situation for me with how I feel. But the aim is to hopefully start to integrate a few new things in my life, and hopefully through this that will encourage me to continue doing that and explaining what I've been doing and how that's made me feel, and what sort of resulted from that, so that I can actually essentially grow up and not just be in my own bubble anymore. So if you did watch this, thank you very much. And I'll hopefully